Presented by Prize Picks. Get $50 instantly when you play the first $5. When you use the promo code welcome to Light Years. Andy Lou, it is June. June is upon us. I don't know if you can see my skin is glistening. It's been all day in the sun. Chasing around a toddler. Got a nice tan going right now.
I'm burnt, sweating. Yeah. Hair is disgusting. It's great. Honestly, it's gret. June is awesome. I think you and I live in places that are going to be really warm in the next couple of months straight. And so I was born in the city, and today I was in the city and it was cold. And I love this. I love this city. I love it. And sometimes I'm just like, yeah, I get it. I get why people live where I live. I get it. I get it. It's always 70 degrees.
I've always been a suburban kid, so I'm comfortable. But what I was going to say, though, is like, yeah, it feels like summer's officially upon. NBA Finals starting this week. I'm kind of excited for that matchup. We can talk about it later. Not the primary focus today. But also, we're a month away from free agency, and it feels like it really does feel like this is going to be an interesting free agency period because officially the new CBA is under us, and it just feels like a completely different climate. You know, you had Shams last week saying this will be the craziest summer of all time, and that's probably some salesmanship. But you also have Windhorse out here talking about how teams are making more calls than they used to in the past. And the last part I want to bring out to this is, we kind of know that the new CBA forces this, second apron, which is kind of like a hard cap. And no one really has cap space. It's almost forcing teams to act like the NFL, where they have to everyone has to be involved in these transactions. It's no longer 2010 where it's like LeBron and D Wade and Bosh are free agents and 20 teams have cap space. Now it's like nobody has cap space other than the Nets, and all these players want to move around, and they all need sign-in trades, and everyone needs to kind of use each other to make a deal. And it's kind of, I don't know if it's more interesting. Well, it's definitely more complicated than it was in the past. I don't know if it's better or worse, but I'm kind of excited to see how it plays out.
Hold on. I know this is not what we're going to talk about, so I don't want to spend too much time on this, Sam, but as you were talking, I'm thinking about it, and you just mentioned it. Can't tell if it's better or worse for the league. I got a feeling that Adam Silver likes it. It's just like I think Adam Silver likes and we'll get to the finals preview at the end of the show here. I think he likes the Thunder Pacers. I think he likes that small market. Kind of gives the NBA a chance to get some new faces. I think this sign and trade stuff, all this trading that you're saying is going to happen, I believe you. Shams and Windy are saying it's going to be crazy. I think Adam Silver likes that. I think part of his NBA
big three reporters right there: Shams, Windy, Esfandiari.
Sam Esfandiari. Hell yeah, those are the big three. What was I going to say? I think that's a good thing, but when it was free agency, anybody could sign with anybody too, and it wasn't like it was a lack of movement back then. But trades are cool. I think trades are fun. So I think that stuff. I think Adam Silver is happy about that. I don't think it hurts, dude. It's cool to have the NBA in the news all the time.
I can give a fuck about what Silver thinks, but
I'm just saying.
I think the teams like it because it makes more teams players in the process. When it was free agency, It was like, all right, there's only 3 teams where everyone's going to, period. Now my real question is, does this new system that requires sign and trades and everyone to work together benefit the Warriors or hurt the Warriors? I'm not sure right now. I'm not sure. I'm not positive.
To go back a little, that is the point of the CBA, right? To make it so that all teams have a chance, like a quote unquote better chance at winning the thing. I think that is the point, and I think that's what generally the NBA wants because
they want to be like the NFL, where if you are smart and build a team, it does not matter if you are in South Beach or Green Bay. You have a shot, right? Like that's what they want. There's always advantages. There's always advantages to being in a bigger market. There just always are, but they want to create as much of a level playing field as possible. And
I think this is what they want. And then to answer the question, I think it's got to be good for the Warriors. It's got to be good for the Warriors. The Warriors haven't,
doing with Brunson.
Yeah. They've never been. I don't know. They've never been a free agent destination. So I don't know. I don't know if they are one. To me, I think it's like maybe you could argue if Bob Myers was still the GM, he wasn't really like I don't know. But you can argue he also made some big. He was more like a swing and trade kind of guy, one and done. Mike Dunleavy feels like hey, if you need someone to make 2 or 3 trades this offseason, which I think the Warriors, there might be a shot here, Sam, that they make 2 trades this offseason, 3 trades. Like Mike Dunleavy seems like a guy that can do that. I mean, he did that last season, right? Or at least.
Well, I also just think it's like
that we're like, why is there 5 teams in this trade? Turns out they had to, just to make the trade. It turns out they had to.
But I also think we need to turn the page. Like the Warriors in 2016 were it's funny because it like coincides with when San Francisco was like the hottest in terms of business opportunities, but like Steph Curry, face of the league, generational player. They'd built a team that played a style that everyone wanted to be a part of. Like they could not be a hotter place, you know? But you and I both know we live in the Bay our entire lives. It's a great place to live, not LA. It's not always the hottest place to live. You know what I'm saying? Like they hit lightning in a bottle, or lightning balls on it. It was just kind of the perfect confluence of things for them at that point. Now they need to be the smart team. They need to be the smart team, and we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But I kind of want to throw it out there because I feel like there's too much. What? It's just never going to be 2016 where you won 73 games and Steph Curry is a once in a generation player. You know what I'm saying? Like where you have these advantages in free agency that like, I don't know, Boston did everything right, but it's like Jason Tatum's not Steph Curry. You know what I'm saying? Like those are, you just don't have those opportunities all the time.
Rank for me the Bay Area in terms of destinations. Like you don't got to go 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, but like is it top 5? Is it top 10? Is it middle tier?
Between 5 and 10. It's definitely above average, but I would say to the average 20-something pro athlete, LA clears, New York clears, of course. Miami clears.
Of course. Chicago?
No. They're like, to me, they're in the tier of a Chicago, a Houston, a Dallas, a Boston. Where, okay, if you're from like California, you're like, the Bay's kind of sick. Like Clay is an LA guy, but he's like, you know what? If I'm not in LA, I want to be in the Bay, right? Like that sort of thing, right? And then if you're an East Coast guy, you're probably like, you know what? Boston, Philly, not that bad. Pretty close to home. I'm from New Jersey. This is right there. That sort of thing, right?
I think
but if you're those guys, you're still, if you're that New Jersey guy and LA calls it LA, ooh, they're just realities. I'm sorry. I really shouldn't need to explain to people why a 25-year-old with endless money wants to live in LA.
Well, no. I think it's important to no, I don't think anybody needs to explain that. If anybody has ever been 25-year-old, they know that. And so I agree with you. That's the why, like, for example, like the Giants, like anytime the Giants try to sign someone, it's like nobody wants to play for the Giants, but anybody that has been in the California area, it's always like, okay, like the Giants have a pretty solid chance to sign that guy.
If they build a good team and they have a good pitch.
Yeah,
but they're not just signing because it's the Giants, right?
Golden State, I think, is a little better. I'm not comparing them to the Giants.
Well, but they still have Steph Curry. They still have the GOAT, So,
I don't think they're trying to sign. They're not trying to sign they're not going for like this. Like Giannis isn't coming to the Bay. Like he's not, right? So, I think we're about to get into some of the names that we're going to talk about, and I think those names are guys that want to come play with Steph and Jimmy, and I think that makes the Warriors, I think maybe at the higher part of the 5 versus the lower part of the 10. Where you're saying the Warriors in the 5 to 10. I agree with you. Maybe the Warriors are at least closer to the 5, 4, 3 number versus the Giants are probably like 12, 13, 14, 15, etc. Right? Because they don't have anyone. But the Bay is still a good place. So the Warriors still have that until Steph retires. So this is really, I guess, all that being said, Sam, this really is the offseason where they can't fuck up. Because they still got guys to recruit people.
And the thing that I'm noticing about this offseason right now is like, yes, KD's out there. And if KD changes his mind on the Warriors, we'll talk about it. Right? I'm not getting into that until I have a reason to, right? Giannis goes without saying. If it becomes real, we'll talk about it. But I don't really see the point. Like, what are you willing to give up picks for Giannis? Yes, I'm willing to give up picks for Giannis. Like, it's not a particularly compelling argument. Oh, no. But what is interesting is there's a lot of really good players who are like that second tier where they're not all-stars, but they could be all-stars. Like Trey Murphy, yeah, our guy KOC just put out a report that the Pelicans are willing to consider everyone. And there's a lot of smoke that they might trade Trey Murphy. I don't know if that's true. It might not be, but like that's a guy where it's like, okay, he's not an all-star yet. But if he came to the Warriors, would you bet on him making an all-star team in the next 2 years? I probably would. I think he's fucking good. I think he's in a terrible situation. You put him across from Steph with Jimmy and Draymond in this system. Next thing you know, he's like, the second coming of like Wiggins and Clay or whatever you want to say. And everyone's talking about how he's like the best two-way wing in the league or something like that, My point is there's a lot of good players who are being rumored to move around. They're just not established stars right now. And the more I think about it, if a Giannis comes available, we'll talk about it. But the reality is the most likely scenario is this team's going to roll into next season with Steph, Jimmy, and Draymond as the core, which is cool. And what they really need, as far as I'm concerned, they need someone under the age of 30 who's more of like an everyday player and a two-way player. Like what they need is a young Clay. They need a young Wiggins. They need they need one of those guys who's
Jordan Poole, any of those guys.
Yeah, just basically guys who are probably between 25 and 30 who are going to bring the energy every game, period, and who are good enough to carry loads of offense on specific nights. Now, that's not easy to find, but there seems to be a lot of them in the market right now.
Where are the Warriors? Because you already threw out the name. We're gonna do Trey first, but you probably need a level set
as an asset perspective. Yeah.
Well, you need a level set with me where the Warriors are at. Okay. First apron salary. Yeah, I don't.
So okay. I'll do this as quick as possible because it's boring podcast stuff. Right now,
people need to know this.
Right now, they're at 170 million committed.
Okay. All right.
The first apron is 196, so they're 25-ish mil below it. Okay.
All right.
You want to be under the first apron because it makes it significantly easier to make a trade. For example, if you're under the first apron, you can be 25% off on money and make a trade. So if I give you 26 million in contracts, I can take back 30 mil. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Once you start going over it, everything gets more complicated, more restrictions. Of that 170 million, the contracts that are probably going to be the easiest to move are Moody at about 11.5, Buddy at 9-ish. Those are kind of the two big ones. We're not going to talk Draymond right now, but so the way I'm looking at it is they have 20-ish million in contracts plus about 25 million in apron space to play with. Okay. So they can't trade 20 million for 40 million straight up, but they can play in the range of players who make 20 to 30 million and make these transactions pretty easy. Once you get above that, it gets complicated and then you become a team with four expensive players and everyone else is a veteran minimum, basically.
Yep.
So what I'm saying is most of the transactions they're making are probably going to involve Moses Moody's new contract or Buddy Hield's contract or both, or a Jonathan Kuminga sign and trade. That's the other player we haven't really talked about right now. He's technically not on the books in that 170 mil, but you can use him as a sign and trade too. So those are the three main things. And then as everyone knows listening to this, they have all their picks after this year. So they give up the 2025 picks. So they have what I like to describe them as is they don't have the most assets. They're not the Spurs or the Rockets who compiled 1,000 picks and they just they just have more and more, right, to give. But they're also not they're not like the Phoenix Suns who are fucked, like one of these teams who's like, I have no picks. I have nothing to do. They're somewhere slightly above average to average in terms of assets to play with. Does that make sense?
Yep. All right.
So to me, the thing that makes it interesting is not only do they need to find partners to make these moves, they also need to find partners who like what they have more than other people. So Trey Murphy, for example, we're mentioning him right now. All right. Trey Murphy, his 4-year extension starts next season. He is at $5 million next year. So just in terms of cap mechanics, the Warriors in theory could just trade Buddy, Moses Moody, and picks, and it would be a legal trade. Now, would the Pelicans ever accept that? Probably not. It's a pretty unexciting return, right? But like in theory, it works under the cap. I guess the real question is, does a team like the Pelicans, who has new management, are they interested in Kuminga? Because you could do Kuminga and Buddy Hield, or Kuminga and Moses Moody and a pick. And you would be able to get Trey Murphy, and you would still have your taxpayer mid-level to go get like a D'Anthony Melton type. You'd still have the ability to get another veteran. And I think that's the other aspect of this. They need to make a move on a guy who's in that 25 to 30 range who can really help you. But they need to get like the right guy on that like taxpayer mid-level. They need to probably they probably need to find 3 veterans who are under 30, 31 who can really help this roster. And then the young guys that you bring in with it, the Quentin Post, the Pods, whoever's hanging around post this, then the responsibility is much smaller.
Whew. All right. That was a lot. And it makes sense. So the Warriors, I agree with you. I think they have enough in the war chest to make moves. I don't know if they have enough in the war chest to make a move for Trey Murphy. That's where the more I think about it, the more I go back to, and you really talked about it. You really said it. Like if the Spurs, they got Wemby and they got another pick coming and they got Vassell and they got these guys, they want to go all in. They can just throw 3 picks at them and they could throw 4. They could just do something like that, like what they did for De'Aaron Fox. And
doesn't really come down to, and this is what no one knows. What do the Pelicans want? What does Joe Dumars want? What does Troy Weaver want? Because like Trey Murphy's going to have 12 teams who are going to make legitimate offers for him. A guy who's his age, who shoots it the way he does, who's shown he can play defense. I'm not saying he's an all-world defender today, but like he is the prototypical 3-and-D wing, right? There's going to be a lot of suitors for that, right?
Well, I think that's why the Trey Murphy dream. That's why it doesn't make sense to me. Although I get it, like it's just the Warriors are going to get crushed in that scenario where Sam Presti can just come along and he's just watching NBA Finals Game 3 and just go, hey, you know what? And he could just go and just say, hey, I'm just going to throw these 3 picks, and it immediately blows the Warriors out of the water.
You guys want Kassan Wallace and 3 picks?
I feel like he wouldn't even do that. He might be like, nah,
but
because
he could.
But the thing is, OKC wouldn't, because they have to pay guys, and Oklahoma City's probably not going to, like, they wouldn't do the 25 mil. So like that's the other thing, right? Like, do other teams want 25 mil, 27 mil? Teams are cheap. Do they want to pay that? If they like, I can see why New Orleans doesn't want his contract on the books, sort of, because they got this DeJounte Murray contract is kind of gross. Zion's contract's kind of gross. I guess CJ's only got 1 year left, but Jesus, like it feels like part of me is like they just want to clear the books and start new. So if that's a scenario, it's like, to your point, it's like, do they want Kuminga because they like Kuminga the player? Because they're going to have to pay Kuminga too, right? They're probably going to have to pay Kuminga more than the 25, 27, 29, 31 here.
I don't know if they have to pay him.
Maybe.
Well, either way, they're going to end up having to pay him in the same range. So
it's like,
it really comes down to, do you love him? Do you think he's an actual star? Do you think
is it? Well, like maybe they just want to get his contract off the books. That's what I'm saying. Like maybe they just want to say, like, hey, we'll just trade him for a guy and just get 100 million off the boat. Not 100, like 70. So I'm just saying, like, teams like this, new management, and they just don't. Maybe they don't want to get close to the tax. Like the Pelicans aren't going to be good, man. Like they're not going to make the play. They're not. They probably want to tank. So anyway,
I don't know if they want to tank. To be honest with you, I think
they have their picks.
Me,
am I missing something? Do they not have their picks or something?
No, but they're the type of team that wants to just be relevant.
Then why would you trade Trey Murphy? I guess is the question. Like Trey Murphy's better than
because it's not working right now. So
yeah, it might be a Zion problem rather than.
But it's totally a Zion problem. How many games are you going to win when you're missing your best player? And then
Yeah.
your second best player tore his Achilles last year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
DeJounte is like, whatever you think of DeJounte, he's not going to play next year anyway. So
Yeah.
that sucks. That's just dead money in his case, like because
exactly.
the injury, right? CJ will be gone in a year. No, it's with the Pelicans. Like the most important thing to call out is they fired their GM David Griffin. They brought in new management, and it's Joe Dumars, who's been around the block, Troy Weaver, who got fired from Detroit. Our friend took James Wiseman in. I'm curious. I'm curious what they want to do with the roster. I'm curious what they want to do with the roster. Like maybe they want to just get rid of Zion. Maybe they want to get rid of Zion and go a different direction. It's like so unclear to me what direction they want to go.
I think one more thing here too is the Warriors asked about Zion at the trade deadline. I don't know how real it was, but it was like lightly reported. I mean, I think the Warriors asked about everyone, but like I don't think they're going to want him now. They ended up using that money to get Jimmy Butler. So I don't think that's going to happen. But I think to your point of like what the Pelicans want to do, like it does seem kind of like a blow up situation. Is Trey Murphy the best guy on the market outside of KD and Giannis, whatever? Like, is he the best guy?
Best player who's not made an All-Star team?
I think he's got to be, or at least close. I guess theoretically, Sam, because you got to think about.
I don't know that he's the best. I think he's the most exciting because he's so young and because everyone knows that Pelican. Like it's like how Caruso in Chicago. Everyone knew like you get him on a good team, everyone's going to be just like this guy's a winner, But like he's wasting on a garbage team. That's kind of how I look at Trey Murphy. I was like, this is the prototype. This is the Mikal Bridges. This is the OG Anunoby. Like those guys that everyone's like, get them on a good team. They're going to help you win a ton of games, but they're stuck on a team that, the star is MIA. The second star is injured, like just in a terrible situation. So I think he's the most interesting for sure.
I agree with you. He also, I think to and I don't know how much this plays into it, might not, but he's been out with injury a little bit the last couple of seasons. Last year he had the shoulder pop.
Well, he had the rotator,
which might not be good. It's the right shoulder, might be bad. And then the year before he had a hamstring injury. So that might not matter, but injuries are injuries. So, but the Pelicans, they're always injured. That's who the Pels are. This is the guy though, man. Like if the Warriors, they're not on the list. I think you mentioned it earlier. They're not on the list of guys. I think that's primarily based on in a bid off. They're not going to come close to the top 5 teams that have a shot at Trey Murphy. So that's the sucky part of this, Sam, because Trey Murphy is the most exciting dude on the market right now.
I mean, would you rather have Austin Reeves in picks or Kuminga in picks?
If I were the Pelicans, Austin Reeves in picks, 100%.
Do you think Joe Dumars wants Austin Reeves in picks or Kuminga in picks?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Because like, if you're going by letter of the law, who is more constructive to winning games in the 2024-25 season? It's Austin Reeves. But if you're thinking of it from a perspective of, okay, in 2 years, which one of these trades am I going to be happier about? It might be Kuminga. Like that's the whole unknown about it because the Warriors' best avenue for one of these trades will involve Kuminga, and it's just so unclear how other teams view him. You know what I'm saying? It's just that's like part of the reason I think the Warriors are so like play nice publicly. A lot of this is just about like we need you need us, and we'll see. Because I don't think he's got the obvious market, and he hasn't played well enough over 4 years that there's going to be 50 teams like knocking the door down. It's very much you need to find that one person who's like, man, I've liked him since he was an amateur player. I just think if I get him in our situation, we give him 35 minutes every game, let him figure it out. I think in 2 years, we got our star,
I think that,
and I don't know if that's the Pelicans. I'm just saying, like that's it. That's what you're gonna need to pull off a trade like that.
To be the bad guy here, I think the worst part of that is the GMs that really liked him. That opportunity passed when Pascal Siakam, Masai Ujiri. I think everybody knew he liked Kuminga. Number one, number two. I think teams are willing to give that player a chance when they cost not that much. But when you're gonna have to pay Kuminga now moving forward, unless they end up paying Kuminga $20 million or whatever.
You're right.
make
You're
that
right.
happen.
It's way easier last summer.
Yep. And now it's I don't.
Now it's an expensive
we're happy
sticker
vibes
to
right now. Exactly.
No, but you're right. It's one thing where like, let's trade for him, let's see what happens, and then we'll pay him in a year. Now it's like, well, here's a bunch up front, and hopefully I'm right or I'm out of a job.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe Troy Weaver, maybe this is the good part where Troy Weaver's like, hey, I'm brand new. I get to do what I want. Maybe Joe Dumars, you know what, Sam? Maybe these guys are like, hey, you guys just hired me. I get to make my moves, right? You guys aren't going to fire me after a year. Maybe they'll give him 2-3 years. Like they've got some job security.
Yeah.
Betting it on
is there Willie Adama signing? Just fucking throw it there. We'll figure it out. Why would you bring
It's nasty, right? Let's get to some reads, man. God,
it just is what it is. I'm just saying, easier to get away with taking a swing up front than when the pressure's on in year 3. You know what I'm saying? That's it. That's it. And hopefully figures it out and all that sort of thing. But it's not going to cost anyone their job right now. It will a little farther down the line. All right, guys. Guys, finals are here. Don't miss your last chance to add your favorite players from the court to your Prize Picks lineups. Whether it's points, rebounds, or assists, take your more or less for your shot to win 2,000 extra cash. Finals coming up. I'm thinking about my plays on this one. It's a completely different series, by the way. So, I was big on the Halliburton more because I knew the Knicks had no chance at guarding in any capacity. OKC is a different animal. I don't know how I'm going to attack this one. I don't know what my play on this is. I'm leaning heavily on, I think Shea is going to put up huge numbers in this series. I think the Pacers are going to go with the Shea get 50. We're going to see if we can shut everyone else off type of defense. And they're not a great defense, but I think that's going to be their approach to it, to be perfectly honest. And so I'm looking at a bunch of the Shea overs right now. I haven't made my decision. Still got 3 days. But with Prize Picks, best way to win real money this summer. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports takes into real money. Enjoy flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if your picks don't hit. Guys, download the app today. Use the code LIGHTYEARS. Get $50 instantly after you play your first $5. That's code LIGHTYEARS. $50 instantly after you play your first $5. Prize Picks, run your game.
Light Years Podcast. We are brought to you by LinkedIn. As a small business owner, you don't have the luxury of clocking out early. Your business is on your mind 24/7. So that hiring partner is LinkedIn Jobs. When you clock out, LinkedIn clocks in. LinkedIn makes it easy to post your job for free. Share it with your network. Get qualified candidates that you can manage all in one place. LinkedIn's new feature can help you write job descriptions and then quickly get your job in front of the right people with deep candidate insights. Just post your job free at linkedin.com/lightyears. That's it. At the end of the day, the most important thing to your small business, the quality of the candidates. And with LinkedIn, you can feel confident you are getting the best. Let your network know you're hiring. You can add a hiring frame to your profile picture, get 2x more qualified candidates. So post your job for free at linkedin.com/lightyears. That's linkedin.com/lightyears to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
All this Trey Murphy talk, and you know what the funniest thing is? And I don't know how much to even take into account. Do you see the Bovada odds? They don't even have the Warriors on the board.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's painful, man. It hurts. It hurts.
I'm looking at these odds right now for someone like Trey Murphy, and take this with a grain of salt. They're definitely trying to get some action. Nuggets first. I mean, I don't know. Nuggets don't have a ton to offer, but then you get to Pacers, Spurs, and Pistons, and those are all teams that can offer a pretty attractive package.
Yeah,
a pretty attractive package to the Pelicans. Like, I'm curious, like, you throw Oscar Thompson in there, who Troy Weaver.
I don't think Pistons would do that.
Oh, I would do it for the Pistons. I wouldn't think twice about it. Ooh. I think I'd rather have Trey. But, like Troy Weaver worked at the Pistons, so there's players there that he liked. What if Jaden Ivey's on the table? Jaden Ivey's kind of an odd man out. I'm throwing it out there. The Pistons could absolutely use a wing who can shoot and defend. I mean, everyone can use a wing who can shoot and defend, right? Let's be real. So maybe, who knows? But you know what I did think was interesting? Who?
Jesus. All right, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of it. You know who Bovada does have the Warriors as the favorite to sign? Number one Warrior killer, brother. Naz Reid. I actually like this one for a couple of reasons. And I'm not about a player.
You like the fit, or you like the odd? Like, you agree with the odds, or you like the fit?
I kind of agree with the odds because Naz Reid is in that.
Okay.
I don't want to compare him to Jimmy Butler because Jimmy burnt a lot of bridges, but he's one of those players that he's not for everyone. You know what I'm saying? Like, everyone loves Naz Reid. Do you love Naz Reid if you have to pay him 25 million a year? You know what I'm saying? Like, everyone loves Naz Reid, the sixth man who's making 12 million a year. Do you love Naz Reid, the starter who's making 25? Those are two different propositions. You know what I'm saying? Everyone wants Jimmy Butler on their team. Do you want Jimmy Butler on a max contract? Different story. Completely different story, right? You know? Even like, remember D'Lo when the Warriors got him? D'Lo was kind of a popular player at that time. It wasn't that people disliked D'Lo's talent. It was no one wanted to give D'Lo the money that he wanted. And I wonder if Naz Reid is that opportunity for the Warriors, because Naz Reid has proven he's an amazing sixth man, right? Sixth man of the year. Awesome. Like, wouldn't you love to have a guy like that on your team? He now wants starter money. And it's just a different question.
How much is that?
Like I said, 20 to 25 a year. Probably Trey Murphy. Like, he wants what Kuminga wants. He wants what Trey Murphy wants. Like, all these guys. Like, the real question is, do you are you willing to pay him starter money? And I'm just saying, doesn't that kind of limit? Like, because I don't think the Spurs are going to jump in with all their assets to get Naz Reid for starter money.
Okay, so you're saying Naz Reid here fits for the Warriors because he's in the tweener, not as a player, but he's in the construct of an NBA team. He's a tweener in that, like, the team with picks, with stuff in the war chest, good stuff, aren't going to want to pay for this guy. They want Trey Murphy. But the Warriors are in the stage where it's like, well, we can't get Trey Murphy most likely. So our mid package is probably going to be good enough if Naz Reid wants to say, you know what I'm saying? I think that's.
I'm saying if Trey Murphy is on the trade block, teams with better packages will outbid the Warriors because everyone wants
you're
3-and-D wing. Yeah, exactly.
You're saying what I'm saying. So that's the point. Is that the Warriors have to play in the mid-tier stages for these type of players because they can't play in that. And so, okay. All right, so let's get.
So is he? Aside. So you have to essentially, the guy you get, if you're going to make that type of move, you have to be right that everyone.
You're right.
It's not even that everyone's missing something, but you think in your system, with your surrounding cast of players, he's worth it.
Oh, Sam, this one's painful, man. I actually.
It's not straightforward, right? Because like,
it's not. It's painful.
Because Naz Reid making 12 mil off the bench is everyone's favorite player. Naz Reid signing $100 million contract. That off-ball defense going to be under more scrutiny, buddy. You know, like.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to what you said on our last show. You want is a guy, if they're going to make a big move for a big contract guy, he's going to have to be able to close games. Is Naz Reid closing games on the Warriors?
I think he is. And I think here's my bet, because if he stays the player he is in Minnesota, it's a toss-up. Because let's talk about who Naz Reid is. Naz Reid is one of the best three-point shooting big men in the NBA, right? And he's got more juice than just three-point shooting. Like, he can really make a play off the bounce. He can score the ball. Like, he can objectively score the ball in a way that no Warrior big man has been able to score the ball in the Steph Curry era ever, unless you count KD a big man. But KD,
yeah.
Let's be real. You know, like Draymond, zero chance. Looney, no. Bogut, no. You know, Zaza, no. Like, this guy could average 20 points per game. And you're betting that in your system, you can clean up some of the defensive shortcomings. I kind of like it because here's my argument why. I think he has enough dog. Like, I don't think he's afraid to defend. I just think he makes mistakes. Does that make sense? Like, I don't think he's soft. I just think he's one of those guys where he's a split second late to a lot of things. But I really love his mentality. I think he cares about winning. I don't think he's soft. I really do think he makes enough defensive plays that I think there's a defender in there. Like, in terms of like shot block.
This is what they did with Buddy Hield, by the way, where he became like a decent enough defender where he can stay on the court. So
my argument is he has a level of offensive skill they lack. And he has a level of give a shit that I'm willing to bet if you put him around the greatest defender of the last 25 years in Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler, who's a fucking good defender and a really smart player in his own right, and a coaching staff who, quite frankly, has proven that they're better at developing defense than offense. I like that more than them betting on a good defender that they're going to teach to shoot, because I have yet to see them ever do that. You know what I'm saying?
This is a great conversation. This is really hard because I agree with you. The unknown is what scares me. The unknown really scares me. He's young enough. He's only 25. I guess
he'll be 20. He'll be 26 next season, but he's 25 this year.
I thought he was older for some reason. Way off. So he's
perfectly. I forget he was 19 when he came into the league. Like, he was so young.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy. And he's been in Minnesota his whole career. Wow. Why did I think he was like 30? So he obviously, the next team he's going to want to pay. He's obviously going to want to play. Like, he played 27 minutes, 28 minutes ish this season. He's going to want to play 32, 34. Like, he's going to be, to your point, want to average like 20 points or something.
You're signing him to be your starting big. Like, you're paying him the money too.
So one couple things. I feel like this part, I think I'm disagreeing with you, maybe to play devil's advocate, Sam. This part, because I do like the move, but Naz Reid is 6'9". He's 6'9".
7'4" wingspan, baby.
All right. Per 36 rebounding is pretty solid, like 8 rebounds a game. I don't know how
build.
Doesn't move.
We're never getting a 7-footer. I'll take 6'9", baby.
6'9" is actually pretty tall for the Warriors. Actually, they'll have to go back down. I mean, 6'7" maybe will be better for the Warriors. So I don't know. The size stuff might matter, might not, because it is, in theory, if you put Jimmy Butler at the 3 and then Draymond at the 4-5 next to him, like, the defense does work. Like, maybe they close, maybe Paz takes another leap. That's good defensively. Maybe Melton's healthy, whatever.
Or maybe you get Melton. And
yeah, exactly. So maybe they can put enough around him. It's here's the thing. The Warriors need guys to play 82 games. They need guys to be good 82 games. They can't just have guys be, all right, well, if Steph's there, then we'll be good. If Jimmy's there, then we'll be good. No. If Steph's going to sit 6 games or Jimmy's going to sit 6 games, we can see Naz Reid average 24 points, right? Like, I agree with you there. Like, he can help them win games when Steph is sitting. So I think I'm sold on this. I guess my question right back to you would be, Naz Reid has a player option for next season. He's obviously going to be like, I want more than that. So what would like an offer look like, though? Like, is this another sign and trade scenario? Because the Warriors,
of course, it's for sure a sign and trade. So where they benefit is Minnesota is going to lose him. Minnesota would rather get something in a sign and trade than nothing.
Yep.
I mean, the Warriors just got Kyle Anderson to sign and trade.
Yep.
From Minnesota. Minnesota is going to lose him. Maybe a Moses Moody on the wings and a protected pick. It's something. Wow, it's better than nothing.
Wow. Well, man, if that's the fucking move.
Well, you'd probably have to send. It's probably in construct of Kuminga going in a different direction to make numbers work. But my point is,
gotcha.
I think it's possible. I think.
Okay.
The other thing I really like about Naz Reid, I just want to point this out to you. What did he shoot in the playoffs?
I don't know. How do you shoot from
39.7% from 3?
40%. 40%. Yeah.
66% on 2. He doesn't, and over his career, 38% from 3 in the playoffs, 50% from the field. Like, his offense is real. Like, the shot's real. You've watched him in playoff games. He's not I'm hitting them Tuesday night against the Nets, but when the game gets tough, I'm pissing down the side of my leg. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not, like, the dog factor is real. Like, I'm honestly, my argument for him is he has a level of offense that they need, and not only they need, but specifically at the 5 position they need because of Draymond and Jimmy, right? And I think he has enough defensive tools and just like the mental attributes that they're going to make him a little more competent on that end. They're not going to turn him into prime Looney. Very few people can get to prime Looney level, but they can get him above what he is right now.
So you're in on a 4-year, $120 million sign and trade. Get it done, baby. Lock it in. Escalating up to 120.
Let me ask you this. If I told you get to close a playoff game with Steph Curry, Melton, or Pods, depending on where Pods' maturity is next year, there's times where I'm like, "Ooh, Pods, your 3 leagues coming." There's times I watch. I'm like, "Let's not."
I'm in.
Right,
I'm
Jimmy,
in. Let's go Pods.
Jimmy, Draymond, and Naz. That's your 5.
It's a good closing 5.
That's
a good closing 5.
Are you concerned about the offense?
I was just going to end this Naz Reid segment with this part. Was the dream scenario is Steph pick and roll or Jimmy pick and roll, inverted with Steph or Steph and Draymond. Draymond gets the 4-on-3, or Jimmy goes downhill and he does this thing where he's wide open from 8 feet, but he kicks it to a wide open Naz Reid for 3. That baby's going down 40% of the time. To your point, Draymond has the ball on a 4-on-3, kicks it to the corner for Naz Reid. Naz Reid can do 2 things. He can shoot and he can actually drive. Like, he's not hey, I'm just going to stand in the corner because I'm a big guy. Not like Brook Lopez, right? Brook Lopez got a post game, but you know what I'm saying? Like, he can actually slash the rim. He's got a left. He's got a right. He can finish around the hoop. That scenario is a perfect scenario. If Naz Reid was on the Warriors against Houston, he may have averaged 30 points. He may have averaged 30 points in that first round series. Same thing if Naz Reid was on the Warriors going.
Do you think forget defense? Do you think offensively it's good enough to win it all?
Well,
because we're both acknowledging the gamble is over the course of a season they get good enough defensively. But offensively, is he enough of a game changer that you feel comfortable with that? Because Jimmy's a 2-point, like, Jimmy got hurt, but he's a fucking good offensive player when he's engaged and his ass isn't broken,
Well, and Steph is there. Yeah. I mean, it helps a lot when Steph is there too. So, I don't know, but you just sold me in the last 10 minutes. Like, give him 25 mil. Like, because think about the options that the Warriors have, right? Like, Naz Reid is probably their best option, and it's probably their best option we're going to get to a Kobe White in a second here. Like, Naz Reid's probably got a better chance of closing games than Kobe White. Like, give me Naz Reid. Like, in the situation where you're closing games. Now, the question becomes, what does Naz Reid look like in the regular season when guys are out? And that actually isn't bad either. Like, he is actually a really good scorer.
I'm okay with him taking 20 shots. I'm okay with him taking 20 shots in a January game.
I'd agree.
I'm okay with it, like, volume scoring Naz Reid regular season basketball.
Because the Warriors have built a team that if you have one of Steph and Jimmy, Naz Reid in the regular season is going to be really effective, because you just need one of those guys to get you open looks, and he's good enough to score in one-on-one scenarios. The Warriors don't have anybody that can score in one-on-one scenarios. They just have 2 guys. Yeah. So, you know what?
He's not even like
150 mil, Sam. Let's do it.
To your point, he's not even a pure, like, ISO player. I just think he just has more juice in terms of, like, he can really shoot it, and if you close on him, he can straight line to the basket and do something with it in a way that the other guys that the Warriors have been running out there can't, right? So I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued with it just because I'd love to see them gamble in the opposite way, which is, like, offensive skill is there, heart is there, and you're betting that you can clean up the defensive tools enough, as opposed to the opposite. They've always go the opposite route.
Naz Reid's better than Lowry Markkinen, baby. All right, let's go. We got some reads.
I mean, it is kind of the math you do with Lowry, right? Lowry's a little more refined in that regard. But it's the same. It's the same mental concept.
Yeah, $50 million.
I mean, he's built like a real center.
So. Yeah, he's massive. Yeah. All right,
guys. If you haven't tried Via yet, you're missing out. Whether you need to unwind, refocus, or just pretend you have your life together, Via is here to enhance your everyday. And let's be honest, probably your night too. Look, man, I can only speak for those of us who have kids, but it is relentless on weekends. No childcare, 6 a.m. Daddy, come wake me up. Okay. All right. I gotta go, endless energy. I feel like I'm guarding Steph Curry all Saturday. Just he's nonstop motion, moving around. It's tiring. It's tiring that whole way, And I feel like sometimes you don't really put enough stock into how much that wears you down mentally. And that's really where Via comes in for me. The ability to, when it's all over and I'm a little stressed about all the things I need to do in life to keep it moving. Sometimes I just want to have a little elevate and just be able to relax on the couch for the night. Trusted by over 500,000 happy customers, Via is changing the game in natural wellness, blending powerful, high-quality hemp-derived ingredients to deliver real, effective, driven benefits. Whether you're looking to sleep better, have better libido, improve focus, recover, or simply relax, Via is tailored for your solutions. Guys, make sure to use our promo code LIGHTYEARS to get 15% off. Free shipping on orders of over $100. And if you're new to Via, get a gift of your choice. And your purchase, and you tell them where you heard about us. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Enhance your everyday with Via. Didn't see where I was going with that, did you?
I was just smiling. You're just the master. Just the master of this craft. Nobody does it better. Light Years Podcast. We are brought to you by PXG. Dude, PXG is unbelievable. They've got a couple different facilities in the Bay Area. They've got one in the East Bay, South Bay. I went to the one in Dublin to get a fitting a couple months ago. Now I'm locked in, man. He gave me some tips to fix my putting. He gave me some tips to fix my driver, which is horrible. And they did it as part of the package. One thing about your golfing game, if you're bad, just get new clubs. That's what I do. So head over to your local PXG for a fitting. Fastest way to improve your performance on the golf course is a PXG fitting. The fitters are highly trained, incredibly experienced, and have a deep understanding of how to optimize your clubs to get the most out of your swing. They also have a golf simulator. They got 2 of them, which is pretty sweet. If you guys have never used one, I feel like a lot of our listeners know what it is. But if you don't, it's like you're on the course, man, and go and practice your swing. It's awesome. You can go in there. Like I said, I was in the one in Dublin. Get your swing on. Schedule your fitting today. And for a limited time, you can save up to 20% on your entire order. Head over to pxg.com/lightyears. That's pxg.com/lightyears to save up to 20% on your entire order. pxg.com/lightyears. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Just a casual 50 minutes on Trey Murphy and Naz Reid.
Impressive.
We got the finals coming up this week. Are you locked in?
I can't wait. I can't wait. This is, I think, the best basketball matchup that we could have gotten out of like the last 4 teams. This is the matchups. And like, I think if the Knicks were here, I think, would I even watch? Like, it would have been a 4-game series, 5 max. This I could see 6. I could see 6. This will be fun.
It's funny because, and this is such an arrogant comment, but the Thunder remind me of the Warriors at their peak offensively. Sorry, the Pacers remind me of the Warriors at their peak offensively, and the Thunder remind me of the Warriors at their peak defensively, which is just an arrogant way of saying neither of these teams touch the Warriors. Fuck out of here with anyone saying it's the greatest team ever. But no, I'm excited. I'm excited to see it. I've been a big Pacer guy for a while. this is what the Warriors, I don't want to take this in a super negative direction, but this is what the Warriors miss when the front office gets overrun with Lacobs. You can't overly science scouting. Like you can to a degree, but the true stars have kind of a weird innate mental skill that will never show up in like biomechanical tests. And to me, Tyrese Halliburton's a great example of that because Tyrese Halliburton he can shoot the ball. He's quick for sure. He's got good size for a point guard. He's a good passer. But like the reason he's a superstar is he just sees the game quicker than everyone. Like whatever that like intangible skill that makes the whole thing run, the Magic Johnson quality, the Steph Curry quality, the Jokic quality, he has it. It's more important than any of his skills. And like when you try to overly science scouting, like that's how you end up taking Wiseman over him. That's how you're like, everyone's like, oh, we love him, but Wiseman has more talent than him. It's like, no, Wiseman tests better on biomechanical tests. But if you watch basketball, you know that kid has something special.
I guess the question, because baseball has had this debate for years, right? And baseball's a totally different sport, so it's completely.
And it's
different.
A little more individualistic, so yeah,
it is.
But yeah,
and a way larger sample size and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I how do you? I'm trying not to do what you just said. I'm trying not to do the whole like, well, if they just didn't go and take over the front office, they would have, like what would I go back to this? What would Jerry West have said with the number 2 pick? What would he have done? Someone that has actually and to take it even one step less, like backwards, like what do you think Steve Kerr thought of Tyrese Halliburton?
Oh, he told everyone he loved him. He told everyone he loved him.
And I think that's part of like Steve Kerr is someone that, right, is probably as close to a scout because he's been around the game for 20 plus years versus someone like Joe Lacob where, look, God bless his soul, man. Like he loves the sport and he loves the war and he all that stuff. But if he's in the room looking at basketball skill and trying to understand what makes players good, give the guys that have been around the game, that have seen good players. This is why Steve Kerr, whenever he talks about Kuminga, do you think that Steve Kerr, and he compares him to Shawn Marion, do you think Steve Kerr is doing that as a slight? Because I think this is what people think about. Like, do you think Steve Kerr
I can't take
saying, you know what I mean? Like people think that, right? People
I can't take anyone who, if you think that's a slight, you are a loser. I'm going to put that on the record. If you think him comparing him to Shawn Marion is him stunting his growth, you are a dumb motherfucking loser. Like that's what I'm going to say right now. I don't even entertain that. You can say he might be selling him. No, you're not even selling him short. That dude's a Hall of Famer.
Well, because if he was better than what Shawn Marion would have been, we would have known that already. Because better players than Shawn Marion, like Shawn Marion's, like you said, Hall of Famer, defensive player there type of player. Like if he was better than him, we would have seen it already. And so there's a reason why someone like Steve Kerr, who's probably right about basketball 98.9% of the time, whatever it is, knows that, hey, I'm looking at Kuminga's career and Shawn Marion is probably the peak of what he's going to be. Can he do what Jeremy Grant does in Portland? Probably. Yeah, of course. Jeremy Grant averages a lot of points.
Would also be better if he tried to be like Shawn Marion.
Jeremy Grant. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So it's like
I just don't know what people mean when they say that's a slight. You're like, oh, it's insulting to ask him to defend and rebound. He should just be able to dribble and not defend and like you're basically saying you want him to be DeMar DeRozan instead of Shawn Marion.
Cool. I would not rather have DeMar. I would rather have Shawn Marion 11 times out of 10. You know what I mean? And give me another. Anybody that knows basketball knows that. You would rather have Shawn Marion.
Well, because what's the primary responsibility of a wing? Defense, using your size to help the team, not dribbling and taking fadeaway jumpers. Like, I don't know. It's like, I'm not saying that's what Kuminga does, but it's like when a coach is just pointing out that, like, I think you can be an all-world wing, who just dominates the game without having to get into your bag, it's a compliment. It is a compliment. It is like, it is,
Sean
it's a
Marion.
motivational, like, dude, you can be the best player on the floor without dribbling. Do you know how that's such a compliment? And people are like going here like, oh, it's so insulting. It's like, bro, you're just telling me you're like, you don't know what you're watching.
He also got paid a lot of money in his career.
Yeah, he was top 10 paid for his prime. I think people forget he was making 20 mil when Kobe was making 25. Like that, he was a big time paid guy.
20 mil then now is what, 40? Like probably like
correct.
It's Jalen McDaniel.
OG makes 40.
It's 40 million.
Like, OG's how much money probably do you think the closest comp to Sean Marion, you know? So
yeah.
They're different. They're different, but it's like the same type of like this wing is the best player at the floor at everything except ball in his hand stuff.
Yeah. OG can kind of shoot now too, but Sean Marion could actually shoot. He's just funky like Halliburton. And to the point, like how much money do you think Kuminga would be happy with? Right. And so it boils down to me. I don't even know how we got to this point, but it's probably my fault.
At least we buried it. At least we buried it an hour in.
At the end. It boils down to the fact that
people are going to throw us at our face, we just thank them for subscribing, buddy.
Yeah, just keep liking. We enjoy the love. He just wants to average 20 points. He just wants to shoot the ball 25. Like, let's just be real. Like this has nothing to do with anything else, man. Like if and maybe it's this agent fault, whatever. But it's like, dude, if you did all the things the Warriors wanted you to do, the Warriors they would have just paid him $32 million a year. Buddy, like that is easy money, dude. The Warriors would have just paid him what he wanted easily. Steve Kerr would have been like, you know what I mean, right? Pay him this money. He just doesn't care, man. He just wants to shoot.
We're talking about Trey Murphy, who, albeit is more of a 2-3 than a 3-4, but nobody's out here pretending Trey Murphy's a first option. Maybe not even a second option at any point in his career. Trey Murphy is just like, you need wings who defend and play a role at a high level on offense. How many of those are there in the NBA?
Well, the Warriors, they're trying to find them. Like the Warriors can't find any. You know?
Well, I'm being honest with you. Like, how many guys are there who are true multi-positional defending wings who are over 6'7" or 6'6"? Pick a size. But like they can guard the 1 through the 4. And they're good offensive players playing off of the ball. In other words, they're not first options, but you can play them next to anyone and they will work.
I'm looking at a list right now of top because you got to think from the perspective of players. Like a lot of the top players, like they're not that type of player because they're so good, right? Like Steph, like you just build around Steph. Halliburton, you build around Halliburton, right? And so like
no, these are the guys you put around those guys.
Yep,
like
exactly.
15-ish, 20-ish.
I don't even know if there are.
I'm not even saying they're all at the same level, but there's like Aaron Gordon. He's not a great shooter, but he's a little better as a slasher than most, right?
Mikal
Bridges, not as good of a slasher as Aaron Gordon, but a much better shooter. You know,
I'm gonna keep throwing names at you. Andrew Wiggins, your favorite. Devin Vassell gets paid.
Wiggins actually is a phenomenal. Like whatever I think of him in the motor going up and down, he did prove when he's locked in, he can absolutely be this type of player. I'll say it right now. You know, I've been hard on him as hard as anyone, but like, yeah, for sure.
Cam Johnson, Jaden McDaniels. I don't know if you count Bruce Brown. I don't know. KCP gets paid $23 million. KCP gets paid $23 million. I don't think he made a 3 last season. I don't even know if he can shoot anymore. And he's getting paid $23 million. And he's going to get another 21 next year. Like, I'm just looking at the list to answer your question. Like, it's crazy. Derek White gets paid $28 million, and then $30 million, and then $32 million.
Anyway, my point is, like, I wasn't even talking about how much they get paid, although that kind of relates to it. There's not that many of them in the league, and if you can do those things, you will get 30 a year, starting 30.
Yep.
Every team is dying for a dude who they can count on to be kind of the fireman on defense. Like, oh, we're playing Shea, go guard him. Oh, we're playing LeBron, guard him. Oh, we're playing this. And then offensively, they know how to play off of the main star and average 15 to 20, whether it's as a shooter or it's as a cutter or, various things, right? If you're good at those things, you will make hundreds of millions of dollars in the NBA.
And I think it really is about thought process. And I think even to bring it back to the NBA Finals, these are two teams that are true basketball
Aaron
teams.
Nesmith.
The roles for everyone fit together so well. Aaron Nesmith is going to be, if Indiana wins, Aaron Nesmith is going to be a top 3 reason why the Indiana Pacers win the championship, because he's their best chance at guarding Shea. So
Aaron Nesmith, they by the way, they signed him to the Moses Moody contract. If what we're seeing right now is real,
oh, stop it.
That next one's about to be in the Trey Murphy, Mikal Bridges range, brother.
Oh,
you know,
I thought you were going to say Moses Moody is going to take a leap. But yeah,
no. I'm saying
right.
they got him on kind of a right before he figured it out, and you're watching it, and it's, to your point, plays a role off of the star offensively and locks up defensively.
True roles, these are guys, true roles, and that's why they're winning. That's why
POA, baby, POA.
I had no idea Nesmith was that good defensively. By the way, maybe you did. I had no idea that was.
No, maybe he's having a breakout. This is kind of a breakout postseason for him. I mean, he's always had the tools. He's not that old. That's the funny thing. When the Celtics drafted him, I thought it was kind of a bust pick because you heard nothing about him for 3 years. But he was just a classic one and done who came out a little too young. Who, all of a sudden now, what is he? 24. Well, 25. All of a sudden he looks awesome, and he's gonna be. Yeah, I mean, it's like
I think he might.
Hey, don't trade Moses Moody. That's Moses.
I was just gonna say Moses Moody might have his career because it didn't work out for him in Boston, and then he got flipped over to Indiana, and it just got more opportunity. And maybe you can argue Moses Moody kind of has that thing, and I don't even know if you can blame Boston because he just couldn't play enough. Boston ends up winning championship. They didn't have enough space. Blah blah blah. But this stuff but again, let's go back to the point before we get out of here. I think the point is Aaron Nesmith plays that role, right? Aaron Nesmith is not – because if Aaron Nesmith said, forget it, all I want to do is just score 25 points a game and shoot, Aaron Nesmith
clear out
in the freaking league.
ISO, baby.
He's gone. And Kuminga's better in that ISO, so he's going to be around. So I'm not saying that Kuminga's going to be out of the league. Kuminga's going to be around because he is good from an ISO perspective. But – back to Steve Kerr's point, Steve Kerr's looking at him and saying, dude, your career, you could be this, and it's amazing, and you could still get paid. And the end of the day, he just wants to your point, Sam, he just wants to be DeMar DeRozan. That's fine. Just go be DeMar DeRozan. How's DeMar DeRozan doing from a winning perspective? Sometimes people don't care, though. They're not, whatever. So
I want to be Kobe. It's like, you're DeRozan. Because you know what Kobe is? Kobe did all that stuff, but he was also a psychopath in terms of defense and rebounding.
Yeah, it's one of one. I don't even think he's gonna be DeRozan. Sam DeRozan can shoot, man. DeRozan's got a nice handle. He can shoot.
It doesn't matter.
DeRozan's good. Yeah, I know. DeRozan's good.
Rudy Gay.
Yeah, Rudy.
I would have thought.
Rudy Gay's
I was
gonna
say Julius Randle, but Randle kind of cooked the Warriors. But he's 30. He's done nothing till this point.
No, so. Rudy Gay's the one. And Randle, I think, is a pretty decent one too. And like Randle, you watch him dribble, you're just like, oh my god. I am kind of glad OKC took because just Randle, I've never been in on Randle, and just watching him.
Well, he's one of those guys who he only wants to play his way, and he's just not good enough to play that way on a championship team.
Yep.
Which I think is the point you're making. Like, championship teams are built around GOAT level offensive forces. Shea, whether you love him or you hate him, he is that good offensively. It's like James Harden. You can love him or hate him. He didn't not win a title because of talent. He had the talent to be good enough to be the best player on a title team, right? Yep. It's about the guys who are just good enough to not be those guys, but don't want to buy into the fact that they need to play a role.
Yeah. I think you hit that one on you and I think maybe then it goes back to he's fine with it.
And by the way, this is like the most annoying Twitter point. It's like, dude, get off of 2K. What about his hopes and aspirations, brother? Do you think I go into work meetings throwing tantrums because of my hopes? Everyone has hopes and aspirations. You kind of have to just do your job. Do your job and take your opportunities when they come,
Naz Reid will be in that salary slot soon enough, Samuel. We will be celebrating a Naz Reid sign and trade, signing, whatever you want to call it, like it's a championship. I can't wait. I can't wait. Over under 22.5 points in a Warriors jersey next season for Naz Reid. I've never.
I'll tell you right now, if Naz Reid's on the Warriors, he will average more points than Jimmy in the regular season.
And Jimmy's
going to do the Iguodala. He's like, I am not hitting the floor once before Christmas. Not once.
Like that. Oh man, Naz Reid playing off Jimmy. Jimmy will never be happier. That's like Duncan Robinson on roids. That's like Caleb Martin on roids. Remember when he had the slew of
maybe they can get Duncan Robinson too for him.
18 million, right? 18 million. Right? Was that a team option or a player option? What was it? I don't know.
Let's just say his next contract's not gonna be that.
I mean, he might be taking vet mins, dude. I'm gonna tell you, Duncan Robinson might be taking freaking. I don't know what ETO is, but that's what Duncan Robinson has. I mean, it's not even 18 million; it's 20 million. That's hilarious. Early termination option. Gotcha. Okay, so he's probably Duncan Robinson might be a free agent actually. So the Warriors might actually be able to get him for the. I don't know. Maybe vet min is too little, but taxpayer mid level. I don't know. What a show. He's going to be a free agent. If I'm reading this right, Sam, you tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, you don't think Miami's picking up that?
It's just like, I look at early termination option. What do you think Miami would want to do with 19 freaking million to Duncan Robinson?
It's you're right. It's now they're going to do the Chris Paul thing where they're going to use this in a trade. We didn't use it in a trade.
Don't remind me of that. Don't remind me. 30
all right.
Just down the freaking. All right.
Appreciate everyone. Have a great evening.
All right, y'all.